Here in this second-story bedchamber, there is this window seat, and we're not real sure if this story is true or not, but the story is that Betty Lewis used to sit up here and read novels. Well, in the 18th century, novels were not looked upon very highly, so it wasn't something that you wanted to get out, that your wife or that you were reading novels, and she certainly did not want her mother, Mary Washington, knowing that she was reading novels. So the story is that she used to sit in this window reading the novels where she could see her mother possibly walking up the path, which her home was only a block away, so walking up the path to the house. If that were the case, she would quickly pick up some sewing and hide the book in this little drawer behind this panel door here. And they would open this drawer out and she could quickly put the book in here and slide it into the wall, and then with a piece of wire or string put this raised panel back into the paneling in this window seat. Now again, we're not sure if this is a true story. What we are sure of is that when they picked up the floor here to do some restoration on the plaster ceilings below, they found hundreds of sewing needles between the floor and the ceiling below. So there could be some truth to the story. They have this little narrow staircase that goes up to the attic here, but it's interesting up here. It's interesting for another number of reasons. One of those is just in its construction. You can see all of the framing and all of the brickwork and how the roof is put together. Now, if we look at the roof right here, there's a hole in it. This building was hit about 12 times in that 1862 Battle of Fredericksburg during the Civil War, and that is one of the holes that was not repaired. Now, there is another hole in the back of the house upstairs here where a cannonball came through and it was an exploding shell. Some of them didn't explode and some of them did. This one was an exploding shell that was still live. It crashed through the roof, but it hadn't exploded. And so a number of years ago in 1989, they found this live cannonball sitting over in the corner of the room, and it caused quite a ruckus here. They called the bomb squad in and had to seal off the area until they find out what to do with it. But the bomb did not go off, and Kenmore is still here for us to enjoy. Something that is always going on here at Kenmore is trying to find out more about the building itself, what has been the history of the actual building. And one of the things that they were doing is restoring the ceilings on the other side of the second floor here. And in doing that, they pulled up the floorboards and found a beam that went across with a cut-off mortise and tenon joint. The tenon had actually been cut off while still in the mortise. Well, later on, when they were putting together a plan to do a historic structures report, they decided to cut a hole right here. And in doing that, exactly opposite of that other tenon, they found this, another mortise with a cut-off tenon. What they found is that there probably at one time was a beam that went across here where this part of the second floor was supposed to be this close, about 1.5 feet closer to the staircase. Well, of course, if that was there and I was walking down the steps, I would hit my head on it. So they decided they needed to move that back. They know that this is a 18th century decision and not a 19th century decision because of all of the split oak lath and the hand-wrought nails that are all signs of 18th century work. So it's something to keep in mind when looking at these old historic structures.